I'm your host, Vocab, Malone, Christian urban apologist. I'll be joined tonight by Dnew as we discuss the conscious community, which is an alternative spirituality to Christianity in the cities and on the internet. Specifically, a leader, an influencer named Nature Boy, who's recently been arrested. We're going to figure out his connection to the larger conscious community, as only urban apologists can do. Tonight's Monday, April 25th, 2022. How you doing? Huh? How you doing? Let's go. What's up, y'all? That's right, Dnew. Show 'em what's up. That's right. Awesome. Shout out to Dnew joining tonight. Get the applause. This is a part two, a continuation of something we did last night. The one and only BK Apologist channel. Shout out to him as well. He gets the applause as well. So this is the deleted scenes right here. These are deleted scenes. This is the bonus footage, all right? And so we're glad you're joining us. Come on in. Please hit that like button. Please grab this link and share it. We're going to be discussing the conscious community, specifically Nature Boy. Before I play the first news clip, Dnew, what do you need to say so people know what's going on? Language warning, I guess, is one thing, but what else?
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. But, hopefully if you guys missed the show that we did last night on BK's channel, you go back and watch it after this, because it's really, this, as Vocab just said, this is part two. And maybe a lot of people aren't aware of what's happening in the real world. So Nature Boy is a part of the conscious community, and recently he's been in the news. We're going to play some news clips in a moment here, but he's been in the news because there has definitely been some not so good things happening as a result of, basically it boils down to ideology, right? What we think matters. And so, and what we think also takes us places. And so tonight we're going to look at where some of the ideologies and ideas from this group, we'll call it a cult because it is a cult. We're going to look at where the ideas of this cult have brought Nature Boy and people who are associated with him. So you guys sit back, relax, and pray.
No doubt. And like you said, Dnew, sometimes these ideas take us places. And apparently one of the places that it's taken Nature Boy is behind bars. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, because some of you may not know who this is, but you may be a Christian who's interested in alternative ideas or things related to the conscious community. And so this fits in with that. So even if you don't know who he is, you're going to find out that this is in the news. So we're not just pulling something randomly out. And you'll be enlightened and honestly probably also a little disgusted. So, watch out. There's some things here tonight that we wish we didn't have to show you. We wish you didn't have to talk about. But to fully inform you, we do. Okay, now I'm going to do my best. I'm going to play this right now. And you're going to have to please let me know if you can hear the volume when I play this. I'm a little concerned about the volume as I play it through this. If it doesn't play, we may have some troubles. But let's try and see this, okay? So just give me a second. I'm going to flip over here. And all right. Okay, I'm going to be playing from an Atlanta news station. And I'm hoping that you're going to be able to hear this. All right, so this is a news report from less than a week ago. Less than a week ago, I believe. Or maybe about a week or so ago. So here we go. Play button.
They can't hear it.
Ah. Okay. Huh. Cannot hear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dnew, I'm gonna need to take a second to do something here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that, people. Okay. Here, I'm going to do something. This is gonna take a second here. Dnew, the news article. Can you bring that up and can you go through that with the people, because I'm going to take a second to set something up while you do
Okay.
that. I won't be able to show it on the. Well, actually, I could show it on the. I could show it on the screen. Let me see here.
If you show it on the screen, I'll go ahead and read it.
You need it on the screen.
Yeah, I can put it on my end if you want. I'll put it on my computer. Just read it.
Okay. Yeah, give that a shot. See if you can do that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, everybody, this is an article from 4 days ago. It's the 25th now, isn't it? 5 days ago, April the 20th, 2022. And this is, there's a news outlet that is really following this story, and that's good to see. And so this website is where we're getting a lot of our information. But here we go, April the 20th, DeKalb County, Georgia. Eliseo Bishop, the alleged cult leader known as Nature Boy, was arrested after a former member of the cult who identified herself as his girlfriend said he posted revenge porn because she left him. That and several other details about the case of Bishop, who has allegedly led more than a dozen followers in the Carbon Nation cult, as well as spread his influence with a robust social media following in the tens of thousands, are revealed in police reports released to 11 Alive on Wednesday. According to the reports, the woman told police that she had joined a sex cult in which her boyfriend is the leader, and that she did live together with Mr. Bishop, and he has posted sexually explicit videos of her and him without her consent on Twitter. She said he had posted 4 videos without her consent and wants to press charges. Bishop, she added, had directed other women/girlfriends to hit her, which led to her escape. That contact with police on March 30th led to an investigation that resulted in Bishop's arrest on April 14th. According to DeKalb County jail records, and these are available online for anyone who wants to look at them yourselves. Bishop faces 5 charges: rape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions. Under Georgia law, it's a violation of sending nude or explicit communications of someone without the consent of the depicted person. Other women who have left the cult, including one woman said she was his wife, has said they've been subjected to sexual coercion and abuse. Bishop's cult reportedly began as one centered around sexual and naturalist themes, though social media accounts indicate more recently it has reoriented around Bishop's own messianic self-image and Black liberation messaging. Pay attention to this part. Posts are heavy on the number 3 and ancient Egyptian iconography, which Bishop referred to as 3 God in the accounts. His videos and sermons portray him as a godlike figure, and he said in one message after his arrest, "They want to crucify me. They want me dead. There's hate that surrounds me. You can feel it, just like any other prophet. Only me, I'm the return of the Christ." You're muted?
I know. I'm coming back. I need a little bit more time to download this final one. I'm having to try this an alternate way, but thank you, Dnew. Can you exegete a little bit of that article? Tell people what we did last night on BK's show, and then talk about a little bit what we're going to do tonight. And I'll be right with you in about 3.5 minutes.
Okay, sure. So again, as I said earlier, last night on, hey Nate, maybe you can put the link in the live chat for people to go to the video from last night. But Vocab, Adam Coleman, BK Apologist, and myself, we just kind of introduced, well, maybe not introduced it, we talked about it for the first time. And the reason that we're doing this is because, you know, these ideologies are really affecting people in their lives. They have an effect on people in the real world. The article, as I just read and as you just heard, indicates that we have a real woman who, has experienced, being coerced into being involved in a sex cult. And there's obviously fallout that comes from that she's going to have to deal with for the rest of her life. But I want to kind of just hone in on a few things here, if I could. I want to just go over the charges, because it says Bishop faces 5 charges: rape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronics transmissions. What makes this, I think, maybe more so troubling is that he, Nature Boy, which he doesn't go by Nature Boy anymore. Actually, his name is now 3 God. So he believes himself to be the Messiah. From the show last night, we kind of went through some videos where he tries to give biblical support to himself as to why he is Jesus Christ, and why, he has the following that he has. Oh, another thing I want to mention, that's very problematic, is that he has this following that numbers in the thousands of people, both, I would say majority online. If you go through his videos and you go through comment sections, you see that he has a ton of support. He's being financially supported, and he's being, emotionally supported as well. That too is troubling. But back to these charges against him. Rape, as I said, rape, false imprisonment, 3 counts of prohibition on sexually explicit electronic transmissions. A lot of this is not the news, that hasn't really been giving a lot of detail to it. There's a lot of blog sites that are going through this. In some cases, it seems like these blog sites have more information than the news. But once you get into it, it's really, really disturbing what has been happening in this cult for a long time, and kind of has been flying under the radar. There's been reports of, not only sexual abuse, but physical abuse as well, most definitely emotional abuse. There's been children that are involved in this. And there's been, law enforcement has been involved in this. There's kind of, Nature Boy kind of has a history with, the law, if you will. Not a long history, but I'm just saying that there is a history there. So I also want to point out that, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit more. Definitely, he has ties and leanings to ancient Egypt. Okay. He in a lot of his videos, he references a lot of the Kemetic gods, deities. He makes a lot of Kemetic references. And I think that that's something that's important to point out as well. How are we doing, Vocab?
We are doing good. We're almost there. I'm about to transfer these 2 videos over, and we should be ready to go. So everyone in the live chat, please like and share this video. I'm going to show you a couple news reports here in a second. Dnew is giving everyone the update so they can see what's up. Shout out to MJ. And if you can stall for about a minute and a half more, perhaps, Dnew. Maybe, I don't know, we already talked about what we went over last night. And then last night we tied it with young Pharaoh, the evolution of young Pharaoh. And so we even talked about how they kind of came up together. And
Yeah.
just a second more. It's taking a second to download. Anything else with that? And then the live chat, and then we'll be ready to go. I'll give you a signal. We're close.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can talk about that a little bit. So, you know, my introduction to Nature Boy kind of came through Young Pharaoh, because Young Pharaoh is another individual from the conscious community who also says and believes some audacious things, and so. Young Pharaoh and Nature Boy had an appearance on Saw Netter a few years ago. For those of you who aren't familiar, Saw Netter is really very much so like a household name in the online conscious community. And so he has a lot of people come through and who are connected to his platform, people who, different ideologies come through Saw Netter, all of them belonging to the conscious community. But my introduction to all of this, and I say this all the time, is BK. BK got me in this. He just brought some videos to my attention that I felt needed a response. And so, that is how I became acquainted with Young Pharaoh, segue to Nature Boy, and how we doing? So again, you guys, when we want to be clear in giving a disclaimer to these videos that we're going to be playing tonight, there is definitely a language warning. Okay, definitely a language warning. So if you have kids in the room, you might want to put earphones in so you can listen to this, or you might want to just get somewhere where you don't have children in the room, because these are definitely adult matters.
Yes. Although, it's funny you brought, well, not funny really, but, you brought that up. And that is actually how, for a lot of people, Nature Boy first came on the radar. It's clips that were being passed around online of him talking about how it was natural. It was natural for him to be naked in the presence of his children, and not only to let them see his nudity and nakedness and be accustomed to it because it's natural, but also to even engage in touching him in his nudity and nakedness. And so people were passing around those clips like, yo, this looks like pedophilia of some sort, and so so that was a thing that a lot of people saw him first come on the radar because of that. Rightfully so. So I want to read. Man, there's so many news stories to read about this. You read did you read? I forget which now. I'll make sure. There's a couple at 11 Alive. Did you read one from 11 Alive? Which one was it? The title was.
I read the one titled "Police Reports Offer New Details."
Okay. So I'm gonna show another one on the screen real quick, and I'm gonna show this to you guys, and this is also from 11 Alive. This is another article, so you'll be able to see the nature of this. On the return of Christ, alleged cult leader arrested on charges including rape in DeKalb County. Legio Bishop and his followers have a winding reported history that goes back several years. This is from April 15th, updated April 16th here. And I may not be able to fit it all on the screen. I'm trying to get it smaller for you, but let me see if I can do that. Okay. Yeah, getting a little too small there. But here, I'm going to read this to some of you now, so catching up on this. Legio Bishop, also known as Nature Boy, reportedly the leader of a cult with a winding and sometimes convoluted history, was arrested in Cobb County and faces charges including rape. According to Cobb County jail records, Bishop was arrested this week and faces 5 charges: rape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions under Georgia law, violation of sending nude or explicit communications to someone without the consent of the depicted person. So some of this is similar to what she already read. DeKalb police said in a statement that they initiated an investigation on March 30th following a complaint against Bishop, and that the department executed search and arrest warrants on Wednesday. According to police, he was arrested and addressed in an upscale cul-de-sac outside Decatur. Never trust people who live in cul-de-sacs, you know. At one point, the group appeared to be centered around sexual and naturalist themes, though social media accounts indicate more recently has reoriented around Bishop's own messianic self-image and black liberation messaging. Posts are heavy on the number 3 in ancient Egyptian iconography, with Bishop referred to the 3 God in the council. Is this the same report, just with a different title?
It sounds very familiar. There's some things that are different, though.
Okay, yeah, I'm wondering. Bishop has maintained a robust social media presence with an Instagram account with nearly 25,000 followers. I think I've got like 3,000. I always think it's interesting to like think about these folks and their influence. It's funny because your name's on the screen, and since the way it's aligned right now, it has his picture and it says Dnew under it.
I have nothing to do with him. Okay, let the record show.
And a YouTube following with more than 90,000 subscribers to his channel. His most recent video was posted Wednesday, the day of his arrest, at Pasha restaurant in Atlanta's Lindbergh neighborhood. His followers posted a pair of videos running more than an hour long to a separate Instagram account on Thursday, in which he said over a phone call to the supporters that, quote, "I know that I've scared a lot of people, but truly I'm a sweet person."
They're saying your mic is low, Vocab.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll turn that up. Sorry. Thank you. I rely on the audience to tell me what's going on. Let me know if it's better now. "I know that I scared a lot of people, but truly I'm a sweet person," he said. In part, he was trying to help people and misunderstood. The call also touched on his messianic messaging. "They want to crucify me. They want me dead. The hate that surrounds me. You can feel it just like any other prophet, only me. On the return of Christ," he said. Those other guys. Oh, here's the difference with me. That's who he is, according to. Man, I'm still having trouble with this. May have to give up on everything here. Should have already been to the computer by now. Oh, I know why it's not doing it. Sorry, just walking through this, people. Just walking through it. Because while I'm going through this, we may just have to go through some of the other clips. I may have to play the news clips last, the way it's going. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of this now. I'm actually let me just play some of the clips we have from this. Dnew, if this news one doesn't download in just a second here, I'm just gonna go straight to our clips. We're gonna play his teaching and analyze it, do some urban apologetics, and go on that. If I can't get it, looks like one came up. Okay, that's nice. All right, so here we got one of the clips I want to play from the news. All right, so here you guys go. Let me give you a second here. Oh, don't tell me it's gonna play sideways. It's gonna play sideways, bro. It's not oriented that way. Okay, there must be a way to do this, but I don't know. I'm not smart enough. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Let me see if there's a way I can. Let me try this instead. Man, that's annoying. Come on, man.
So I'm curious. How many people in live chat are familiar with Nature Boy. Maybe we can talk about that if you get that oriented right.
Yeah, it's gonna play it sideways. Okay, I got a trick for that. Yeah, has anyone ever heard of Nature Boy before this? That is a good question. I wonder if people have. Anybody ever heard of Nature Boy before this? And I wonder who watched last night's as well. So because they would kind of have a leg up on everything.
Yeah, he's definitely gone through an evolution like we talked about last night. I had mentioned last night that this is in fact a cult. It is not just a group. In fact, I think that we can more appropriately call it a sex cult, but it didn't start out that way. It started out as more so of a nature, people going back to nature type of thing. I saw someone mentioned in the live chat about Central America. Yeah, so essentially Nature Boy left America, and to get back to his roots, he didn't go back to Africa. He went to Central America. And I don't know the order. He was in Costa Rica. He was in Honduras. and maybe someone in the live chat can give me the third place. But essentially, he was he was escorted out of the countries that he went to.
See on 11 Alive. Thanks for joining.
Okay, I do have it now, finally. My goodness. All right. So we're going to play some of this news clip. Looks like everything is in working order. Okay, I'm going to turn it up as loud as I can here. It may be a little quieter than I want. That's my only concern here. But this is a news clip you're going to hear, I believe, from one of his wives. All right, here we go.
Joining us tonight, I'm Ron Jones.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. The wife of a reported cult leader wants to tell her side of the story. Eligio Bishop, also known as Nature Boy, remains behind bars tonight, facing charges that include rape. 11 Alive's Paula Soro just finished speaking with his wife, and she joins us live at the DeKalb County Jail where Bishop is tonight. Paula?
Yeah, Jennifer, you know, after 3 years of knowing each other, Velvet Marquez tells me Eligio Bishop forced her to marry him. Why? She says that he'd tell her that she'd then be forced to bail him out of jail if anything were to happen to him. And of course, today, something quite opposite is happening. She's telling us her side of the story.
I feel that now looking back, I feel that I fell in love with an idea because he pretended to be someone that he wasn't.
Behind this smiling face, Velvet Marquez faced her hardest years next to Eligio Bishop.
He literally held me hostage. He took all of my identification, my passport, my birth certificate, my social, my bank cards, everything, you name it, medical documentations.
She says Bishop, the leader of the so-called cult Carbon Nation, went from spoiling her to abusing her when she got pregnant.
I was forced to engage in sexual activity that I did not want to do. I was still strangled on multiple occasions. So I had to willingly engage in these sexual activities because of to keep myself safe. He would abuse me in front of the women.
She had their daughter in 2019, and a year and a half later, she says he forced her to legally marry him in a Las Vegas chapel.
There was no medical attention given to us, so when I actually went into labor, I had to be rushed to the hospital 2 hours away.
For years, the cult would drive and settle across Central America. Velvet says Bishop lived off of other members' PPP loans and life savings. She gave him her $3,000 college fund, while others gave tens of thousands of dollars. And after 4 tries, she successfully ran away with their daughter with no money but hope.
My child is important. I don't understand how anybody could leave their child to be with him or to go live with him.
Now, Velvet tells me she has since received death threats from Eligio and that he even showed up to her family's home in Louisiana just months after she ran away. Jennifer?
Paula, do we know, did she ever try reaching out to law enforcement?
She tells me she did, but it was very hard to track him down because he moves so often running away from law enforcement. But of course, now he is behind bars. Now, we also did speak to a former cult member, and we have her side of the story as well on 11alive.com. Jennifer?
All right, Paula, very involved story here. Thank you so much. Now, we have been following the story closely since Eligio Bishop's arrest. We have much more on the group that he's leading on our website, 11alive.com.
Okay, so Dnew, any commentary on that? I'm going to bring up the file of him teaching here in a little bit.
Actually, that's a really good segue because the first clip is him discussing her and their child. So that's a good segue. But I will say that it's just so, this story isn't only sensational. This story is real. Like, she literally, if you guys just could focus in on the emotion that she displayed in that clip that we just watched. Like, this is real. She literally was in a situation where her ID was taken from her. She was literally in a situation where she wanted to get out and she couldn't. She's in a strange country having a child, no access to readily available healthcare. Like, this is real. And it's sad. It's a shame that people are supporting this.
Yeah, this is bad. And some of you might have seen me, Adam Coleman, who's another Christian who's been over there on Sonetta. Well, this guy has been on Sonetta a lot. You know, back in the day. I mean, you can find some from even a couple years ago. You know, he was on there with Young Pharaoh and whatnot. So, you know, that's for the conscious community. That's kind of mainstream, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You know, so people should understand this. This isn't. Okay, I got his teaching up here at Dnew. Sorry about some of the speed bumps, everybody. It's mainly my fault, and then it's only my fault. And then when I got different things going on with media, it's sometimes tricky to make sure it all transfers right. I have another news clip we might play like at the end of the show as well. But for now, we're going to get into some of this teaching. Dnew, you ready to hear from Nature Boy? The Messiah decodes the Bible, the secrets of Genesis and more. The Most High Chief, Nature Boy.
Language.
Say what?
Language warning.
Oh yeah, language warning, everybody. Dnew's gonna be cussing up a storm. You guys like the imagery here? You guys digging this imagery here? I mean, that's something else right there. Just you know, this is the intro. Huh?
He has good videography. I won't even lie.
All the cults do. We're stuck over here begging people to make cuts and edits, you know, and they're over here just finding the best of the best for their cult. I don't know what's going on.
My name is Moon, I'm a student of Chief. Central Lycos activating my gene. Ain't talking denim, I still bust out the seams. My life a movie, you can tell by the scene. Check from nothing, bitch, I know that I'm dreaming. Ayy, symbols tell me what's the meaning. Ayy, hit on my OG, he answered and told me to let go of all of my demons. Ayy,
Nature Boy TV.
You know I'm not the best rapper, but I enjoy doing it. But I've noticed all these guys in the conscious community are all rapping, and I don't feel like they're so great either. Like, I'm not saying who's better. I feel like I can still rap, and it's gonna be okay because they're not so great. And look, they're doing their stuff. You know, I need to put out some with the man. I'm sleeping over here.
Wake up.
Yeah. Okay. Dnew, I'm about to bring up these time codes.
You want me to tell it to you, or are you going to pull them up?
No, I got it. The first one, well, it actually is going now, so it's up until now 3 minutes. So tell me when to stop. We're going to play the clip. Here we go, everyone. Nature Boy, hear the teaching for yourself.
You could be 23 years old, but be on your last cycle of life in consciousness, meaning that the purpose of life, cycle of life, is to learn that you are everything and everything is you. Once you realize that there's no need to have children anymore. This is why all my children get taken from me, because the children wasn't.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no. Can you go to 27 seconds, or are you at 27 seconds?
We already played it. That was the intro.
No.
Huh?
It wasn't. It was just after the intro.
No, that's where it started. I mean, it's the Genesis video, right?
The Messiah decodes.
Yeah. It's 38 minutes and 32 seconds. Right? Because we just played it. That's 27 seconds on mine.
Okay.
Nature Boy TV.
30, 31, 32, 33.
You could be 23 years old, but be on your last cycle of life in consciousness.
Okay. Yeah.
Meaning that the purpose of life.
Look at Dnew slipping, everybody. That's all right. I slipped before, so it's all right.
Of life is
By the way, I mean, you hear the pantheism or panentheism, depending how you want to go with it.
Yeah.
Nobody is accusing Jabari of anything like this, but that particular phrase Jabari could have said. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. You see, this does roll. You know, the conscious community. You know, you this kind of stuff is there. Not saying that leads directly to that, because there's plenty of pantheists and pantheists who don't run sex cults. I'm just saying we're tying him into the conscious community because he's tied in. That's my only point by that, everybody.
To learn that you are everything and everything is you. Once you realize that there's no need to have children anymore. This is why all my children get taken from me, because the children wasn't for me. They were for their mothers. Their mothers have to learn through reincarnation. I don't need children because I'm on my last life cycle. Why do I need to reincarnate? You reincarnate here to learn lessons that you need to know that you didn't learn from your last life, from your ancestors. So you are a descendant of many avatars, and you're a consciousness still awakening to the awareness that I've already reached. Why do I need to have children? For what? You have children.
Well, I can think of a few reasons from his perspective. Number one, to molest them. Number two,
Not even funny.
I'm just saying, understand the way he came on our radar is a video of him talking about running around naked, letting children touch his male member.
Yeah. It's actually after, I mean, I'm not trying to be graphic, but it's after him having intercourse and then the child becoming involved, if you will.
Oh, yeah. You're saying right when he lets them touch the male member is right after a certain activity?
Yeah.
That makes it decidedly worse, but there are levels. All right, here we go.
To reincarnate to learn life lessons that you didn't know in your other life.
One of the life lessons you should have learned in your other life is how to better avoid law enforcement.
Stop having children when you understand that you are God. You become immortal. You don't need children. When you reach this highest frequency, you stop making babies. The reason why I had my daughter wasn't for me. It was for Velvet. That's why she's a little girl. It was for Velvet. Velvet needed Eliana to see herself through. If you look at the situation for what it is, she felt like I took her from her dad and she took Eliana from her dad. Now, if you look at the cycle, right? It was a loop. While everybody was like, fuck nature boy, get your daughter and leave, you were taking the little girl, Velvet, away from her father. Now she's keeping my daughter away from me, perpetuating a generational curse or pattern, and now her father gets taken from her with COVID. If you click,
okay, it's funny because generational curse. I mean, is that a conscious community thing? I always thought that was a prosperity gospel thing.
Yeah, well, what do we hear a lot from the conscious community? That they grew up in church and that they know our Bible, right?
Well, they know our heretics. Shout out to Ham Sunshine. Says, can we compare and contrast Nature Boy to the 10602 movement called The Move? If we have time. My man, I appreciate the super chat, but I don't know what that is. You're going to have to school me. And if Dnew doesn't know, then no one knows.
I know it's not.
Yeah, and then also shout out to the other gentleman who super chat earlier. I put it on the screen, who was just saying, mainly to you, Dnew, thank you for taking the time to do this. I've lost in the live chat the gentleman's name. Oh, there we go, Brandon. Thank you as well. Oh, he gave thanks to me too. Okay, hey, shout out to you, Brandon. I was going to give you props anyway. But thank you for the super chatter so far. All right, continue on with Nature Boy's teaching.
you see the reincarnation loop. Now it's up to Eliana to break that loop. Baby Eliana to break that loop that her mother couldn't break in this lifetime. So now this is why you needed a baby. So the baby is actually came here to actually overcome the demons that her mother couldn't overcome, or her ancestor couldn't overcome. So this is why my daughter was taken from me, because I don't need my daughter. Velvet does.
Such a gentleman. You know, I've been in the barbershop, and sometimes they'll have the little salon chair connected. And I've heard a lot of crazy things in the barbershop. People talking all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, such as the Avengers movies are actually from previous memories that we have of aliens visiting these planets. And so that's how we know about this technology and stuff like that, you know. All kinds of stuff, right? I've never heard anything like this. I feel like even at the barbershop, if somebody was sitting there saying this, somebody'd be like, stop. What are you talking about? Stop. But apparently not a Nature Boy barbershop. You knew he was a certified barber, right? That he had a barbershop for a while, right?
I did hear that. That was one of his gigs. Yes, I did hear that. But to your point, he did say, I think it's in this video, it might be in another video, but he says that you know, he gives a teaching, and in conclusion he says, you'll never hear this anywhere else. You're just gonna hear this from me. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, but I hear a lot of mix and match that we have heard though. MJ says, are they using a toothbrush on his hair?
Yeah.
Cameron says so So he shouldn't break the loop of child molestation and rape. Ooh, yeah. Shout out to Janice Perkins. How you doing, Janice? I've known Janice almost not quite 2 decades, but something close to that. She just has weird.
Janice.
Yeah, that's right. All right, here we go.
She was a reincarnation for Velvet's life lessons. I understand all of this. I understand all of it. So I don't need the life lessons. This is why none of the women get pregnant here.
Okay, you can
Simply
stop.
because
Wait, none of the women get pregnant here. Well, how did Velvet get pregnant?
Yeah, there's a lot of contradiction in what he says. So a few things that stood out to me when I read this. The first thing, obviously, is how this father is talking about his daughter. You know, we have a father who's literally saying that he doesn't need her, right? That, you know, I can't imagine, you know, I'm a daughter. I can't imagine hearing my father say that he doesn't need me, that I don't need him, he doesn't need me, and that I don't exist for him. I can't imagine what that would do to a female's psyche for the rest of her life, to hear that from the person who's supposed to be guiding her in life, right? That is sad. I think that is sad. Also, you know, I don't know. Nature Boy seems to be under this delusion that he's blameless. I think we can safely say that one of the reasons that your kids were taken from you is because you're an abusive cult leader. You're an abusive sex cult leader. That also might be the reason. Just saying.
Yeah, man. And also, Mike B points out that Frank James was a follower of many people in the conscious community. That is right. And the next Squad Live show we're going to do a couple Sundays from now on True ID, that's Adam Coleman's channel, is going to be on Frank James and his connection to the conscious community. Continuing on.
At the end of the day, they're done. They're on their last life cycle. I said that to say this. The dude was 72, right? And we could talk about that more later. I'll talk about life cycles later and reincarnation. And this is why children come into this earth, because you're passing on genes. Once you reach your last life cycle, I don't care if you're 23, you're 15, you're not going to be able to have children this life, because you're on your last life cycle. You only reincarnate once you have breaking your generational curses and realize that you are God, and God is not external of you, that you are God, and this is what we come here life for, is to know thyself. It was written all over the ancient text, the Eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye. Once you have reached this capacity of understanding, there's no need to reincarnate into this realm anymore.
Now, again, clear connection to conscious community ideas. I mean, he is saying some of the same things. Now, somebody in the conscious community can easily say, we don't teach that. I think the diversification of the conscious community is greater even that of Hebrew Israelism, because at least with Hebrew Israelism, even if you're Tanakh only, or if you're, accept the Messiah, but then chop parts of it out, like a lot of these guys do, there's still some kind of foundational element. There's some text. And so there's a little bit more disagreement. The conscious community is incredibly idiosyncratic, and idiosyncratic has to do with highly nuanced down to the individual. I think even more so. It's literally like the conscious community is comprised of multiple communities, usually around a teacher or so. Every now and then you have a conscious community that has multi-generational teachers, where it's this one to that one that maybe goes back to, say, the 60s or something like that. But, I mean, that's my perception of a Dnew. I don't know, because we're not saying every conscious community guy says this, but he has said enough in the past, prior stages to his ideological evolution, where he was on Sa-Netta speaking wisdom, with young Pharaoh. And so you hear this, he's talking about Kemet stuff. And somebody said they didn't hear the part where he says he doesn't need his daughter, or he doesn't need his daughter or whatever. He said that earlier, right in the show. My man, you just have to go back and listen. But I'm going to continue on. That looks like that's as much as you wanted to play for the first part. Now we're coming up on the second part.
Yeah, let me just piggyback off of what you just said there, because, you have dealt a lot with reincarnation, with dealing with some, not all, of the Hebrew Israelites, so this is definitely something that, again, we're always going to say some, not all. We're always going to say that disclaimer, but it's clear that this is something that people within the community hold to. So,
Yeah, and that's another thing that's interesting. There are Hebrew Israelites that do hold reincarnation. Now, they try to get it from the Bible, but of course, Hebrews 9:27-28 is a great verse against that. But there's other ones, and I've done a debate or so on that. But let's continue on and see what else he has to say.
Right? So I was talking to this elder. He's 72. He said, I'm 72. How old are you? I said, well, I'm 39 in these years, but I'm on my last life cycle. I'm infinite. We all infinite, but I'm 39 in these years here within the system, but I'm on my last life cycle where I'm the Messiah. And I was telling him some information. And I realized as we're talking that this man didn't have, though he was 72, he wasn't on his last life cycle. You know what I'm saying? And if you're on your last life cycle, you become a God. You become immortal. You become a God. You know that you are the source of all things. Like everything is projected from you, and you're talking to yourself. And everybody is a projection. And you're walking around inside your mind, and you're talking to different versions of yourself, trying to figure out who you are. This is why we have sex. Sex is us bonding or plugging into someone to share information.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
You just want to hear. You want to be taught by Nature Boy. That's what.
I really, honestly, I cannot get enough. All right, we got Dnew commentary. Go ahead.
So it's just fascinating. So for if you guys are tracking, so what he's saying is that, because again, he believes that he's the Messiah, right? So what he's saying is that he is at the end of his life cycles. He has reached a level where he no longer needs to learn any life lessons, and so in essence, he's graduated to immortality. So other people who are going through their life cycles, they they still need to be taught. They still need to be learning things, and so they reincarnate themselves. But he himself, as Messiah, has reached the level of immortality, and I guess we're all just supposed to accept and agree with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, in all seriousness, how does Nature Boy? How does he know? Right? How does he know who's on a life cycle and not? How does he know that? And it's weird if he's saying he's the Messiah, because he went through Bible passages where he says he's talking about Jesus when he says that.
Yeah.
It's wild that in his own scheme that Jesus wouldn't have been on his last life cycle. Like, would Jesus has successfully broken generational curses and all that kind of stuff? Jesus didn't have children. I'm just saying, on his own presupposition, why would Jesus need to be reincarnated to work out karmic debt into Nature Boy?
That's a valid point.
So that's sort of presuppositional, everybody. That's where, even though we would say what he's saying is ridiculous, let's take it serious for a second and work out the presuppositions. Under his own system, he would need to explain how he could be Jesus. Interesting thing, within him being the Messiah, I wonder if he would hold that anyone between the appearance of Christ 2,000 years ago, has there been anyone else besides Nature Boy who has also been reincarnated Messiah up to that point? These would be interesting things that I guess if you went and visited him, you could have talked to him about, perhaps.
Everything that you do, from sex to eating, everything is to gain knowledge of self. The purpose of your body is to carry around your brain. Your brain is the purpose for your body. The whole purpose of your body is to carry around your brain. The purpose of your brain is to collect information, knowledge. This is what you're here. You're here on a knowledge conscious. You're here to become conscious, fully aware of what you are. You're here for knowledge of self.
All right, I believe that's where you wanted to stop that one as well.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's very, maybe we can use the word fascinating. So no, the purpose of the body or the function of the body isn't to carry around your brain. The function of the human body is to, carry out to facilitate, to maintain, mechanisms and functions that are necessary to sustain life. Okay, so we have different organs, we have organ systems that need to work together as a functional unit, okay, to sustain life. So we have like the heart, we have body systems like the circulatory system, the nervous system, the lymphatic system. All of these need to work together as part of the body to sustain life. If your heart doesn't work properly, your brain doesn't function properly. If your liver doesn't work properly, your brain doesn't function properly. If your pancreas doesn't work properly, your brain doesn't function properly. So to say that the purpose of the body is to carry your brain, that's to be honest with you, that's just an unlearned statement, with all due respect.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna play more of this. Let me turn the volume back. Now we're at the 8:24 mark. Dnew, you just had a 7-second clip here.
Anytime something tells you that something external of you is your God, it is distracting you from the fact that you are the very source of your reality. Now we're about to go deep.
That's that whole stop looking up, look in type of thing that a lot of the New Age, has. That's where they find the source of deities within themselves. Don't look up, don't look out, look in, right? I mean, and it's just classic idolatry of self. I mean, this is what humans want to do. We can just say, oh, that's crazy. But look, a lot of what he's saying is fancy terminology for what all of us do or can do at various levels outside of Christ, which is make the self the center of worship, which is make the self the center of one's focus and reality. And for the Christian, that's part of the, to use Joe Budden's podcast phrase, everyday struggle, where we have to constantly crucify flesh, kill the old man, put on the new, as Paul says in Colossians. So even though this is wacky, it's a rationality and justification for the sin problem that we have outside of Christ. Like he is explaining Romans 1 to a T, which I'm probably going to read at some point in this because of that. But go ahead, Dnew.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to me when I hear statements like this, because they sound all fine and good, when they're abstract, right? This sounds cool, when you're on an island and you have someone putting twists in your hair and you're doing a video in 1080 HD. Like that sounds good, that you're the source of your reality. But what if you're faced with real things like cancer, right? What if you're faced with real things like blindness? What if you're faced with things that really affect you? Are you still the source? If you were the source, I would think that you would prevent the cancer, you would prevent the blind, you would prevent things. I'm always reminded that when I hear things like this, like it sounds good. It sounds good when you're talking about symbolism and you talk about abstract ideas, but they don't work in the real world. And this is why this is why I keep on saying this, but it's so true that non-Christian worldviews inevitably are unable to stand up to the truth of reality. What we're hearing here is such a clear-cut example of that. They're unable to stand up to the truth of reality, and thus they're not reliable. It's very, you're walking on feathers when you believe things like this. There's nothing in this that's going to hold you up. There's nothing in this that's going to hold you up in the real world.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly the parable that Jesus gave, or the story or analogy, depending on how you want to put it. Remember, wise man built his house upon the rock, but the foolish man built his house on sinking sand. It's Matthew chapter 7. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Notice how that doesn't shift. It's something solid. And the rain fell when the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on the rock. Jesus is saying his words are the rock. Notice what he says. So his words are about his person. So this has to do with who he is, who God is, what the gospel is, what Jesus says as truth. That's the rock. And even now, building something, you better have a firm foundation. If you build in the wrong place, you could be in trouble. And Jesus points that out. And watch the contrast, though. So he makes it all or nothing. And everyone who hears the words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. So he's saying anything else other than me.
Yeah.
And the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 27.
Yeah.
Next clip. It's about 4 minutes. Here we go.
Now, if you don't believe me, just look into Genesis. I can show you right now. It's right there in the fucking scriptures. Let me show you. I can show you it quickly. And motherfuckers just misinterpret it. In the creation story, in Genesis 1, in verse 27, watch this. I'll show you just real quick, just simple, like real quick. Genesis 1:27. So God created what? Mankind in his own image. Now we know God is not a man. God is not a woman. God is male and female. God is masculine and feminine and balance. So he created that in his image. Now, it says right here, in his image, he created them, male and female. So this was not just a male. It was a male and female. This is an asexual entity. He created them. Right? So watch this. Now the white man took it. Now watch this. In chapter 3, now this is chapter 1 of Genesis. This is chapter 1, right? Now if we go to chapter 3, watch this. Let's go to end, go to chapter 3. Chapter 2. Chapter 3. Now in chapter 3, here come Adam and Eve as. Watch this. Well, if I already created mankind, then why in chapter 3? Or was it chapter 2? I apologize. It's chapter 2, y'all. My bad. I'm speeding. Chapter 2, Adam and Eve. Now watch this shit. Look. Remember God created that mankind back then there in chapter 1? In chapter 1, God created a mankind, a kind of man. In chapter 15, God said he took man and put him in the garden. That man, that mankind, that asexual entity, which was male and female, he put that male and female in the garden. That male and female was called Atom, which was Atum. It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suited for him. So this is when the duality came. There was only oneness. And then the oneness wanted to experience itself subjectively. So what did it do? Now God formed from the ground in the wild, boom. And out of the rib, he created Eve. Now the rib ain't nothing but genetics. So in chapter 1, he makes mankind in his image. We made them male and female. Let me get this straight. Cause I ain't the motherfucking I ain't the motherfucking most smartest motherfucker in the world, or maybe. But and if in chapter 1 you created the male and female, then why would you just put the male in the garden? Why wouldn't you put the male and female in the garden? Why would you just put the male in there? What did you do with the female? In chapter 1, you created mankind. You created them in your image. You said that they were created. Those were created in your image. Now we know God is not a he. It was a he, she. And he took that mankind and then split it in half and made duality. Think, bro. Think. Did y'all catch that? Yo, if I'm talking too fast, let me know, my nigga, because my mind moves 100 miles a minute. I feel like I'm way in the future, my nigga. Like, and niggas don't catch up to me. Bro, please let me know if you with me, bro, because I will go right back over what I just showed you. In chapter 1, God said, let us make mankind in our image.
So pause here, vocab. Actually, you want there's a part that's coming up here that none of us need to hear. So can you skip to, he's going to reiterate what he just said, in case he's going too fast for us, he repeats it again. So vocab, if you can go to 2158. You're muted.
Someone in the live chat was constantly saying that this man is not part of the conscious community. Raise your hand if you've seen him on Sonetta.
What? Yeah, what?
Well, I don't know what they're talking about. Not part of the conscious community. Now, they may not, most people in the conscious community aren't going to vibe with all his teachings and activities.
Right,
but to say he's not part of it, why is he debating Polite and whoever else he debated? I forget who all he talked to, so I'd have to go back and look and see. But he's been on Sonetta a bunch of times. What are they talking about? Not part of the conscious community.
He's part of the conscious community.
Yeah. All right. So here comes. What are we going to hear in this next part?
So this is just I want us to hear just a reiteration of what he just said. This is only a couple minutes. Less than a couple minutes.
Here we go.
Chapter 1, my nigga, the beginning. Scroll down to verse 27. And God created mankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them what? Male and female. He created them. Now, these are either hermaphrodites. They're asexual beings. They have to be asexual beings. He says mankind. Now, if we go to chapter 2, the next chapter, we're talking about what? Adam and Eve. And then he says right here, the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. What the fuck? Come on, man. Come on, man. Think, bro. Chapter 2, he says, it's not good for man to be alone, but we just created mankind, male and female. They weren't alone. They had each other. Bro, mankind isn't Adam and Eve. Mankind is an asexual being, which we all came from. I'm trying to tell you it was hermaphrodite.
Imagine going to a Bible study and someone's like, all right, we're going to be studying Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 today. And at some point, this is what comes out. Imagine being, I've been to a lot of shoddy Bible studies, as most Christians have, right? You're like, oh boy, okay, let's, who's got the tacos, right? But nothing on this level.
I never heard this before. Before Nature Boy and Three God, I never heard this before. So he's going to proceed to say, just the last part of that clip there. He says, is an asexual being, which we all came from. I'm trying to tell you that it was a hermaphrodite, and it comes from the story of Egypt, of the creation story in Egypt. So I would like to just say a few things here, if I could. I want to just reference the creation story that he's talking about. So to be clear, this is what Nature Boy is saying. I'm gonna call him Nature Boy. I'm not gonna call him Three God. So So essentially what he's saying is that there's a separation in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Genesis 1:27 and Genesis 2, I think it's maybe 15 or something. And he is more than implying, he's stating that there's a sort of not a duality, there's like two separate events happening there. So there is the creation in Genesis 1:27. He's saying that there is a being there that is a hermaphrodite, which, by the way, a hermaphrodite is like an organism that has both sexual reproductive organs. So in the case of humans, this individual has both male reproductive organs and female reproductive organs. Anyhow, so Genesis 1:27, we have a hermaphrodite apparently, who he calls Atum, Atum, okay? And then in Genesis 2, we have the creation of Adam and Eve. So Genesis 1:27 is an Adam and Eve. Genesis 1:27 is Atum, and Genesis 2 is Adam and Eve. So let me just talk about the creation story that he's referencing. It is the Heliopolitan creation myth, and I'll just go through it very, very quickly, just the part that's relevant to this. So the god Atum is said to be the creator.
And it comes from the story.
Oh, sorry, the dog just jumped up on here and just hit start. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, go ahead. Oh, my goodness.
So Atum is the creator. He's the source of everything. Okay, and Atum, he arises out of what's called Dnew. Dnew is primordial water. Okay, so it's key to note that the primordial abyss of water existed before the source, before the creator of everything. Okay, so Atum, his method of reproduction came by way of a couple things. There's different accounts. Some accounts have him using magic to mate with his shadow. Okay, he mates with his shadow, and he produces deity children. Shu, the god Shu, who's the god of air, and Tefnet, who is the goddess of moisture. Okay, the way that they come about, like the birthing process, is not what we would recognize the birthing process to be. It was that he sneezed them out or he spit them out. Okay. Another account, and Vocab gives this rendition much more colorful than I do, but another rendition is that Atum pleasures himself, and from his seed come forth Shu and Tefnet. So this is what Nature Boy is referencing. Nature Boy is saying that in Genesis 1:27, that was Atum, right? That's Atum. And then Shu, Tefnet, Adam, Eve, because of course the idea is that, the biblical creation stories come from Kemet, right? And so Genesis 2, we have Shu, Tefnet / Adam and Eve being created. Okay. We were talking about, Bible stuff. I mean, I think that this is Bible 101. I would hope that it would be Bible 101, but he seems to, not be aware that, Genesis 2 is simply just like a zoom back into the creation. Like, it's not two separate events, right? It's a zoom back into what happened on day 6, right? And we're given more details. And so, I mean, it's just funny when, like I said before, that so many people in the conscious community that we deal with, you go to these groups and everyone tells you that, they've been there, done that. They grew up in the church. They know the Bible. I'm like, this is 101. This is 101. Genesis 2 is, a follow-up and more detail of Genesis 1. That's all I have to say.
No, exactly. And I mean, he's making a big deal out of, with Genesis 2 there in chapter 18, right? The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." But then all you got to do is read the rest of the account. Now the Lord God had
Right.
formed out of the ground all the wild animals and all the birds in the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. And whenever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So the man gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the wild animals. But for Adam, no suitable helper was found. So Adam's partner, the one he's to be compatible with, is not found in anything prior that's in the created order. But of course, woman had not yet been created. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, and this is sort of a Hebrew poem right here, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame." Now, my goodness, I'm sure we can imagine how Nature Boy might twist that verse as well. But notice how he's trying to be a Bible teacher here. You know, that is what he's trying to do. All right, this we're about coming up on the next part. We have 2 clips left here. I'm gonna play this and mute this. I need to let the dog out, so I'm gonna let the dog out when I'm playing this. Okay, and so hopefully I can make it back in time. It's always a,
So anyway,
a trick here. Test.
Adam was, and you have to go to the creation story to understand this. Atum. Adam is man made in this. It says, "Let us make man in our creation." We made a male and female. Then he put man in that man was Adam. So Adam was God in human form, which was male and female. I mean, y'all, please, I know you got cognitive dissonance. This sounds new to you. Adam is Adam, is Atum, is Atom. And this is all biology. When you look up Genesis, the word Genesis, and break it down, what does Genesis mean? What does SIS mean? Let's look it up. What is SIS? What is the suffix for SIS? What does SIS mean? Let's look it up. What is the suffix for SIS? Okay, here it is. Boom. No. It's not an action. Look, let's look it up. SIS, a suffix appearing in loan work from the Greek, where it is used to form the verb abstract noun of action, process, and thesis. Now, let's look up the etymology of the word. What does it mean? The etymology of SIS, and Greek derived noun denoting action, process, state, condition from SIS. So in English, it would be what? ING. So what is Genesis saying? How do you spell Genesis? Let's break it down. What is the first 4 words in Genesis? Gene, not genes. So if it's gene and SIS means ING, what are we talking about? What is Genesis? Gening. Hello.
Hello.
Man. Okay.
You want to bring this up on the screen now?
Yeah, let me just say something. Now, let me say, this is probably the only time in my life that I'll ever say this. He's right, okay? He is right about the suffix SIS, okay? So I have, how do I do this? I have a book here that was very useful to me. Greek and Latin in scientific terminology. And I myself, I went ahead just to fact check Nature Boy, and he is correct. That is what SIS means. The suffix SIS means. However, let the record show that everything else that he said is wrong. Okay, so it's just. Did you hear that, Vocab? Did you just hear how he arrived at that? Were you listening?
Yeah, I heard most of it. There's a couple parts I missed, but I have the online etymology dictionary up right now for Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Old English Genesis, first book of the Pentateuch, which tells, among other things, of the creation of the world. From Latin Genesis, generation, activity, in late Latin, taken as the title of the first book of the Old Testament. From Greek Genesis, origin, creation, generation. From Gignesthai, to be born, related to Ginas, race, birth, descent. From pi, root, gene, give birth, beget, which derivatives referring to procreation in familial and tribal groups. Greek translations use the word as the title of the biblical book, rendering Hebrew Bereshith literally in the beginning, which was the first word of the text taken as its title, extended sense of origin, creation, first recorded in English circa 1600 AD.
Yeah, this is something else that. Oh, sorry. Were you going to continue?
No, I was just looking at the rest of the entry. That's it.
Oh, okay. This is something that we see so commonly, commonly among the community, by some, not all. Just this, I was going to use another word. Just this misuse of language and etymology. I'm not sure how you can take the Greek suffix SIS and then call attention to the English word gene and imply that it has to do with genetics. Literally, as we just read, Genesis means in the beginning or origin, origin of. We see this all the time. Just such a, I don't know if that's if the word I want to say is correct, and so I won't say it, but just almost like a mockery of word usage and language and etymology, and a lot of things only work in English, right? Like this would never work in France,
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So let's look. I think we only have one last clip. Just got to get to it in the right spot here. This is the last part of the teaching. It looks like we're going to go over today from this lesson. And again, you put this together, you can tell everyone it's kind of tedious to go through these, but we're giving you the best examples of some of the types of stuff you would get from Nature Boy. And it's just an out and out abuse of the biblical text, and that's what we're trying to show. And this is why a biblical exegesis is important. It's important to understand what's really there and what's not there. This is about to be a 2-minute clip, and if there was ever a good screenshot, that may be it. Here we go.
Language as well.
Yeah, language, everybody.
They taught you it wrong, bro. You just got to decipher this shit. Now, Adam, the first man or mankind, was an asexual being. And then God said, mankind is not, he called this a man. That's what the Greek called it, but it wasn't a man. Atum was not man. And it was an asexual being, as Egyptology calls Atum. Atum was not a man. Atum was a male and female entity. It was made in God's, it was human, it was God coming to human form. And then God split itself masculine and feminine. Out of that oneness, split man, Shu and Tefnut, nigga. Male and female. Do you need me to say it in my Martin Luther King voice? It says that in Egyptian story of the creation of gods, the first God was male and female, and his name was Adam. through asexual reproduction, Adam created 2 other gods. Shu and Tefnut, that would be male and female. Maybe y'all fucking hear me now. And God said, Adam, you son of a bitch. Yo. You feel me? Y'all grasping this shit? You see about 200-300 people left the room when I spit the illest shit you ever gonna hear on this planet. This is real shit. I just decoded the Bible for y'all niggas.
No, you didn't.
Man, we Shu and Tefnut, nigga, male and female. I made them male and female. Then I split the atom. We Shu and Tefnut, nigga.
Conscious community. Kemet. That's it, people.
Yeah, clearly.
And that's how the video ends.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So,
Wait, real quick. Shout out to Mr. Phil Fox. Mr. Phil Fox, you get the applause. Mr. Phil Fox, thank you for the super chat. You also get the air horn. Hold your ears, everybody. Shout out to my man, Mr. Phil Fox. Much love, brother. Thank you for the support and everything else. Okay.
mm-hmm. So that's the conclusion of this video of Nature Boy, and I saw someone use the word grieving in the comments there, and I second that. This is very grieving, very, very grieving on so many levels. Just the sacrilegious banter and talk, the disrespect. And, we don't expect unbelievers to behave like believers, but I'm just saying that it's just, it's just appalling how people can, where people can go to in their minds when you're not tethered to an anchor. And, we just have to pray. Again, I just want to stress, Vocab, you know what we need to do? We need to go to the comment section of this video. Yeah.
Okay, so we had an idea before the show. We were like, looking at comment section, it would be an interesting exercise. And so I've got the video up of the 3 God TV, which has 91,000 subscribers. Nature Boy has 91,000 subscribers on his channel. All right.
That's 91,000 people potentially listening to him.
Yeah. Now we're going to look at some of the comments on this video. This is the video we just watched. I'm going to line this up here so people can see the comments here. Let me see. This may take a second to get this lined up right. This video in particular is not one of his high view count videos. 1,400 views back in October. All right, of 2021. Okay, there we go. Let's do sort comment by top comments. There are 27 comments on this video. Love this breakdown, Babaji. Bobby Hemmett talked about the same subject. Now we got to find out who that guy is, but in a different manner. Who was mankind? They referred in Genesis chapter 1. It was Lilith, the dark side of woman, to put it in lameish terms. She did not submit to Adam. She had her own mind. She then left the Garden of Eden, thus Eve being the second woman, not the first. What I'm trying to figure out is why is there an ongoing fight between man and woman? What you said answers my question. The woman is not above the man, and the man is not above the woman. It is balance. I love myself, Papa G. Thanks for your daily words.
Can you imagine listening to Nature Boy daily?
Yeah, I mean, there's like those daily bread devotionals.
Yeah, like this is daily mold.
Check this out. God loved itself so much it split in two and made love to itself to multiply even more.
Okay.
Powerful knowledge, Chief Messiah.
Oh, yeah, that's another of his names as well. He's known, he calls himself the Chief, something like that.
Great information. Got it.
No, it's not.
Good teaching. I'm in love with the part of me that's just for me. The flesh has a predestined path which manifests as familiar. I have no bones to pick. We are put in a fissure to fertilize the earth to sustain healthy soil for generations to come. Bruh, you are the greatest. We get knowledge and comedy. That man said, does that say, beep, weak AF, I love myself. When aren't you and the YouTuber Inner Mastery Pyramid Cycles going to do a video together?
Oh my goodness.
I want to find out who these other folks are talking about. That who is Inner Mastery Pyramid Cycles?
You find out and you can tell us and we'll vote if we want to talk about it.
What's the name of the intro song? Dumpster Fire. Oh, look, here's somebody with some sense.
Okay.
Bro, you're tripping. God created mankind in his image, male and female. Mankind equals human race. He imagined male and female. Doesn't say hermaphrodite. I think he means imaged. And then he begins the process of creating the man and the woman. I'm going to just like that and give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure, yeah.
These MFs pretty. I don't F with them. Ha, ha. What is... Bro, you're tripping. Repent and believe the gospel of Jesus Christ. You turn to Jesus before you perish for eternity in hell. Hey, man, Rudy. So some believers got a hold of this. Bro, with all due respect, that's BS about not needing children. If every conscious brother thought like you, we'd be in real trouble. So notice, he's part of the conscious community. He's just an outlier. The black conscious God still must get her numbers up in order to take dominion, and that means reproduces herself through like-minded women that will nurture and help raise future generations. That's how we live forever, through our seed bloodline. If a man doesn't have a son or son that takes place to expand as if he never existed. I mean, you know, deep.
No, it's not.
Living. Female is first, attuned to God of order, organization. He came from the waters of chaos. Notice this is straight Kemet, y'all. A womb female goddess of chaos. The embarrassing chaotic mother we prefer to not mention. In the Bible, Genesis, God never created the waters. It says God created heaven and earth, but the waters was already there, already here. He never created the waters. He doesn't talk much about the waters, like many people don't like to mention their embarrassing chaotic mother. But it always starts with her, the waters of chaos. When all else fails, mama will keep something going. It may not be the most orderly. It may be chaotic and embarrassing, but friends, it's how you are alive now. She kept you alive in her womb. God brag about he puts things in order. I put the heavens up there. I put the earth down there. Good job, little guy. But all organization is temporary. Chaos is forever. Science has proven the second law of thermodynamics states that as one goes forward in time, the net entropy, degree of disorder, of any isolated or closed system will always increase or at least stay the same. Left unchecked, disorder increases over time. Energy disperses and systems dissolve into chaos. Chaos is forever and everything is going back to chaos. You may not like it, but that's what it is. Waters of chaos. Female is forever. You're going to always be needing to get back to her. Oh, you don't need her? Stop drinking water and see how long you survive when you are completely dried out. Checkmate. I think Nature Boy kind of got out comedicized with this comment, you know? I'm 30, no kids, but I feel bad if I never have kids. Jesus' real name is Justice. Get this. Justice sounds just like just ICE. Put ICE/us. Remember that terrorist group with the Strouds holding American people hostage? ICE us. I laughed every time I seen them people on TV. The beginning of planting fear and doubt and deception and leading up to today.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This only works in English.
My goodness. My goodness. Oh, man. Oh, so that's its commentary in the video there.
Yeah, so like one of the reasons we did that is because, again, as you can see, is that people believe this to be great teaching. People believe Nature Boy is enlightening them. That's a problem. This is a problem. And so this is the reason why we are discussing this. This is the reason why we need to discuss this. You know, we are
cult leader denied bond today.
Cover error with truth. That is what we're trying to do.
Yes, that is what we're trying to do. Well, so fascinating but disturbing program, no doubt. You know, I can say, you know, you won't hear me claiming to be an expert on the conscious community, but then you kind of realize it's almost as if no one really is. Dnew, MJ, Adam, BK, it's kind of as close as some of the those are experts. And like, I think even they would admit they're getting a handle on all this because there's so much there, you know, like we're constantly new stuff. And so nonetheless, we can prepare and study and learn enough to say, okay, let's look at some of this through an urban apologetic lens. And then when it pops up in the news, you know, that's one reason to do it. Now I got this last clip I'm going to play. It looks like I've still got it maybe sideways, even though it's weird because it's not sideways. It's not sideways when I have it over here. So I'm going to try one other way. This is the last news clip. I was going to play this and kind of end with this news clip if it works. So I'm trying to set it up right now. But Dnew, final thoughts and words. I'm going to put a couple more comments from our comments here, from our live chat. And again, shout out to all the super chatters, especially my man, Phil Fox. Thank you for hooking us up. So what are your some of your final thoughts, Dnew?
So I just want to encourage, we said this a couple times, but I want to encourage, anyone who didn't hear this or who hasn't been here since the top of the show, that we did a show on BK Apologist channel. Vocab pinned that comment at the top of the live chat. Please go back and listen to that video. We are going to be, do you want to explain to them what we're doing? Did you explain to them?
About what? Which thing?
Like the how this will be a regular installment, what we're doing. Did you?
Yeah. So what we're doing, everybody, we just started last night. We're calling it the Squad Live, and it'll regularly be me, Dnew, Adam, BK, and then other guests as they come. And it'll be every other Sunday on average. For example, Mother's Day is coming up, so we're going to skip that one. And it'll alternate between BK and then Adam's channel, and then I'll be a backup if neither of them can do the live. And it'll be Sunday night, and we're going to cover important developments in the larger urban apologetic landscape every week. So stuff that's kind of within the news cycle of the community that maybe occasionally bubbles over to somewhat pop culture level, but things that are happening within that community and sphere, or current things that we're involved with that touch on that as well. And so we're going to cover a lot of conscious community, Hebrew Israelism, and topics like that as we go along and just talk about it together. And so that's our plan. And last night was the first one. And so I encourage you to go back on BK Apologist channel and check that out.
Mm-hmm. And the reason that we are doing that again is that these ideas and that these ideologies have real world and reality effects on people. And, not to some extent, the conscious community has gone for a long time saying many of these things that some of the things that we've heard tonight and other things that we're probably going to talk about later. And we as Christians, we just want to have an apologetic response to this. We want to let people know that there is such a thing as reasoning from the scriptures and critical thinking. That's what, we are called to love the Lord our God with all our heart, mind, soul, strength. And so that's what we're trying to do. I want to say this again, if I could as well. It's so important to get resources. Shout out to Pastor Jerome Gay. I don't have the book with me right now, but shout out to Pastor Jerome Gay and Dr. Eric Mason. Pastor Jerome has his book, The Whitewashing of Christianity. Maybe some of the mods can put that in the live chat. Pastor Eric Mason has his book, Urban Apologetics, Restoring Black Dignity with the Gospel. There's that resource. And then again, there's also Vocab's book that he released a few weeks ago. If you want to if you want to become involved in evangelism and just, being able to equip yourself with some of these ideologies, these are the resources that are going to assist you and give you, the knowledge that you need. And so I'll just talk about Vocab's book here because it's in my hand. This book comes in 3 parts. Part 2 specifically deals with the conscious community. And so this is a good resource to get into your hand. And it also is a good resource to get into your hand if you want to become more involved in evangelism. This is a book that will definitely encourage you and inspire you and galvanize you to to share the gospel with people who need it. There's people in the world, as we just heard, that need to hear the truth of the gospel and the freedom that only can come by way of Jesus Christ. So,
no doubt. Now, can you tell people real quick, because on the channel right now we've got a series going where it's you talking about the conscious community, and we've played 2 installments so far.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to speak at Doctrine for the Block, which is an urban apologetic conference that's put on by Vocab and a local church there in Phoenix, where they invite people from all over the country to just to share on apologetic matters. So I had the opportunity to speak on the conscious community, and it was an introductory presentation for people who aren't familiar with the conscious community. And so on the channel right now, we've broken up that presentation into 5 segments. And so the first one aired yesterday. Second one today, and we're going to go through to Thursday. So if anyone would like to look at that, you can. It's free on YouTube. So
No doubt. You can check out the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Will you guys let me know if I'm going to play this as our outro, but let me know if it can be heard. That's the key. Okay, I'm going to play this. Can you guys hear this? Oh my goodness, why is it doing that?
I can't hear it.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm going to play this as the outro, everybody, just so you have one more video I downloaded. It's going to be sideways. Okay, sorry about that. It is going to be sideways, but you can still hear it.
Cult leader denied bond today in DeKalb County as he
Can you hear
faces
that one?
charges of rape and
all right,
false
y'all, that's it for the show today. Check out the 3-minute clip. I apologize for being sideways. All right, shalom.
Outside Decatur. But the allegations against him and his group go far beyond that. We have team coverage tonight, starting with Joe Ripley live at the DeKalb County Police Department.
Yeah, good evening, Jeff and Chiba. And it was earlier today when we saw Eligio Bishop appear before a judge for the first time since being arrested earlier this week at that DeKalb County home on charges of rape, false imprisonment, as well as a host of other charges. Police say they were tipped off from Bishop's social media posts. Let's show you a picture of that house now. Police arrested him here at this home in the neighborhood in DeKalb County. I spoke with a member of Carbon Nation. This is the group that Bishop heads. He calls himself, this member, Captain Ace. Ace says the group has millions of followers worldwide and focuses on leading a life of principles and morals. Ace says 14 people stay at that home, professing themselves as Bishop's disciples. He has been with the group about 4 years, says he met Bishop through social media, and tells me Bishop's post resonated with him. Ace refers to his leader as, quote, God, and denied the allegations he faces, calling his leader's arrest one of the most troubling experiences he's ever had.
In my mind, he's not locked up. In my mind, I keep the thought frequency that he is free. And because I know that where my attention goes, that's where my reality will support.
You hear the word cult. Obviously, in this day and age, you definitely want to do research as to what is going on.
That is Patrick Henderson, a father. You can tell just from his comments, he's very disturbed, concerned by these allegations, as well as this group living down the street from him. He says if you see anything suspicious in your neighborhood, make sure you do your research and report it if it rises to that level of criminality. As for Bishop, he's going to remain in the DeKalb County Jail until Superior Court sets a new court date for him.
All right, Joe. And before Bishop's arrest this week, we uncovered the alleged cult leader had a long history of problems with the law, and he has a big following on social media. Investigator Andy Parati joins us now with more.
Hey, Sheba, he calls himself Bishop, Nature Boy, Christ. Those are just some of the aliases he's used over the past few years, all linked to his religious group with a history of problems in multiple countries.
He thinks he's not locked up, but we are in a state of hell.
This is video of 38-year-old Eligio Bishop posted on his YouTube channel, The Three God TV. It has more than 90,000 subscribers, where he regularly refers to himself as the Messiah and the Christ.
I'm the return of Christ.
He's lived in Georgia on and off since at least 2006 and is a former licensed barber. For years, social media posts and news reports show he and his followers bounced around South America, including Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Panama, adding content to his prolific social media activity on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Because they keep calling the cops over here, and I'm tired of man.
We found hundreds of videos and posts, many laced with profanity and rants about the world.
Being God is not cool.
In 2017, he was accused of keeping a Canadian woman as part of his followers in Costa Rica. Bishop told the Canadian CBC news outlet that the woman was free to leave at any time.
Outstanding.
He was sentenced to 90 days in jail, and then he and about 20 members of the group were forced out of Hawaii for breaking COVID-19 quarantine in 2020. According to court records, Bishop has been sued twice for failure to pay rent, property damage, and was divorced in 2013. We have much more about this man and his wild history in this story on 11alive.com.
What could make you happier than this ad being over?